G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller, and recently on my Facebook page I had several people ask me how you go about fixing a horse that spins on the wrong hind foot. You know, spinning on the wrong hind foot is basically a lack of forward motion. So I'm just teaching this 2-year-old here how to spin. Today is like the second day working on it. So I thought I might, because I'm working on that a lot with him, I thought I might show you guys what I'm doing with him. So this one's a 2-year-old. I've ridden him quite a bit in just a rope side pull. He's been in the snaffle for about 3 weeks now, I suppose. So before you start trying to teach one to spin, you want to make sure they've got good basics, you know. You want to make sure that he has good lateral flexion on both sides, like that. You would want to make sure, you know, there's a lot of tools you need. You want to make sure they disengage really well so you can really push that hind end around on both sides. You would want to make sure you have a really good backup, and the reason you'd want to make sure you have a good backup because in this exercise you will be handling both reins at the same time. And so with any horse, any young horse, you know, when I first ride them around, it's either left rein or right rein. It's just steering. I never ever touch both reins at the same time unless they're standing still, and that's where I teach them to back up. So he's only been backing up for about 3 weeks, but I should be able to just close my fingers. He should break at the pole and step backwards, bend his hocks like that. That's my goal teaching these horses to back up, is have them really, really soft right there. And what that does for you, then every time you touch both reins, they know what the answer is. I see a lot of people riding around, pulling on both reins, and the horse sticks its head in the air and is pushing on it. Because to me, they never taught that horse what both reins meant before they started trying to use the both reins for something or other. You know, same thing, you want to be able to, you know, if you can do that, you can ride forward. You can ride forward and pick up on both reins and add your leg, and they look like that right there. And he's only been doing that for about a week now, but it should be that soft. You know, you just close your fingers, they break at the pole, add leg, they step up under themselves like that. It should be that soft this early on if you can get all the right stuff there. But anyway, that's a bit off track, but I was just making sure that, you know, so you want to make sure your horse has good, they're good, you know, when you pick up in both reins. So, you know, I've done a lot of stuff before I started trying to teach this horse to turn. I've walked around the fence quite a bit, and I've stopped. And backed up and tipped him into the fence and walked forward. Done a lot of that. What else have I done? I'll do it again. Stop, back up, tip him into the fence. So they get over their hocks and walk forward. I've done a lot of that sort of stuff. I've done quite a bit of maybe backing them in circles. So, you know, I'll start to back up here. I'll just bend his head off to one side and I'll start to back him in circles like this. And you see this really makes them bend their hocks and get their hocks underneath them. And then they just step over like that to get out of it. So he almost knows how to spin, but I haven't started working on the spin yet. I've got a lot of control over those shoulders. I've got a lot of control over his face. I'll just back him up this other way. So I'm just backing him in a circle right here. And he should just put his weight on his hock right there, step his front feet over and step out of it. So I've done all that stuff. So all I'm going to do right now is just, basically I'm going to do like a little star shape. Like a 5-pointed star like that. Walk a straight line, turn him over his hock, step forward. And I want you to watch when I step forward, because that's the most important part. If you're trying to fix a horse that spins on the wrong foot, they have a lack of forward motion. And how we teach these horses to spin is one step at a time. So, you know, we don't try and do 5 spins. All I'm going to do, I'll show you. I worked on a little bit before. You just walk along here, pick up here, pick up, move that front end over, right there, walk forward. You watch next time I do that, he will start to turn on his inside hind foot, and then he'll start to suck back. So, right there he's sucking back, right there I push him forward. I'll wander over here and try it again. So I'm just going to move both hands over this way, he steps across like that, and right there I'll step him forward. Do it again, move both reins over there, right there, step forward. So that's a little drill you can do. That will help you a great deal with getting those horses to stand up on an inside hind foot, and that's kind of how we start teaching these young horses to bring their front feet over in that spin and step forward. The main thing you want to be aware of is that you don't do too many spins and get them sucking backwards. Another way you can teach them to spin is just walk a circle and make that circle smaller and smaller and smaller So just walk around like this. Just make that circle smaller and smaller and smaller, and they'll start to step across like that, and then you walk out of it. And the reason you walk out of it, I'll show you once more. If you can look at his back feet. See, his back feet are walking forward, but they're getting smaller and smaller, so that inside hind foot travels less distance forward. Eventually it stops right there. But if I keep going, see it's backing up right now? See him backing up right there? So what they do when you're doing that is, if this is their hind feet, they're walking forward, and then that inside hind foot takes less of a step and less of a step, so it's starting to suck back a bit. Less of a step until it starts to stand still. But if you keep turning right there, it'll start to take less of a step and go the other way. So basically you're going to wind them around. You know, their inside front foot stepping forward, it steps back a bit, back a bit, back a bit. Once it gets to where they place all their weight on it and start to turn like that, if you keep going further, they will then start to step back with it, and their weight's on their outside hind foot. So you just want to make sure, I'll show you once more, but you just want to make sure that you just wind that turn down and then step forward out of it. Let's walk him around here again. You can see how when I pick up on both, I've got to use both reins to do this, and see how well he accepts that? That's because I taught him what both reins mean before I attempted to do this. Otherwise you'll teach your horse to get stiff on you when you turn. So I'm just going to make this circle smaller and smaller and smaller, and right there he's on his inside hind foot, and see right there he starts to suck back. So I was too late right then, but I wanted to show you what to do. So I'll do it again. This time I won't wait as long. I'll wait till he gets his weight on that inside hind foot, and then I'll step forward. So just make this circle smaller, smaller right there, step forward. Walk back out into that circle. You can just walk a circle and then you can try it again. You can just make that circle smaller. He really wants to turn right now. Make that circle smaller and smaller and smaller, and then they'll suck back with an inside hind foot right there. Whoops, see, suck back too much right then, so I'll go forward. Anytime you feel that inside hind foot step backwards, just step forward and keep that forward motion in the turn. Right there, he sucked back, step forward. Right there, go forward. So today's only really the first day I've started working on turning, and you saw right then he did a pretty nice little half turn. And that's another thing, just make sure your horse is pretty broke to do a lot of things before you start teaching them to turn. You know, if they're not soft in the face, if they don't get off your legs, that sort of thing, don't try and teach them to turn, because then all that resistance will come out and you'll probably end up making them spin on the wrong foot anyway. So that's your answer to how to stop your horse from turning on the wrong foot. Hope that helps. See you guys next time.